please join me in welcoming Reggie Keynote.
What I hope to do today is give you a very different type of presentation than maybe you're used to. It really is going to be a presentation through the eyes of the consumer, through the eyes of those people who buy our games, and quite frankly, those people who today don't buy our games, and how we can get more of those types of consumers. And this graph looks just at November and December sales, and as you know, that's the time when we all make our money. And as you can see, in looking at this chart, 3 of the top 4 slots from a sales perspective in the industry, from a unit perspective, were handheld, really underscoring the importance of this important sector. What this means is that the handheld segment grew from 20% of the market last year, in 2004, to a full 35% in 2005. It really shows that the money conclusively moved over to handhelds with that 88% growth. But that's the United States. Let's look at the number 2 worldwide market, Japan. As you may know, the Japanese gaming industry has been in a steady state of decline since 1997. But last year, the market finally grew, reversing course and driving some incremental growth. From the New York Times that talks about how the wave of video game fatigue is affecting sales. Now, from our point of view, we think driving a new way to play is important to move this industry forward. Here's another chart to support that fact. If you look at all consumers who play games today, so this ignores consumers who aren't even in our industry, only about 21% are core gamers in Japan, with consumers who likely had never touched a handheld video game ever before, lining up to play Brain Age. Imagine your parents playing on a video game. Imagine consumers 50, 60 years old getting into this industry. Imagine people in the media talking about a game as a treadmill for the mind versus gaming as a playground for violence. A whole new way to turn this industry into a direction that can drive growth, drive incrementality, and address some of the publicity issues that we're facing. These titles support the principle that if you exercise your brain, you'll be able to do simple tasks better, faster. While this phenomenon started in Japan, let me show you from 2 weeks ago, Time magazine, talking about the importance of training your brain. And this is especially relevant as the very first baby boomers reach 60 years old. Now imagine a gaming company talking about how we speak to later baby boomers approaching 50, 60 years old and getting them into gaming. 50-year-old business types all playing with their Nintendogs. It truly has turned into a cultural phenomenon. The response in Japan, North America, and Europe has been phenomenal. Accessible for all. Let me give you a perspective. Internally, we have targets for every title we launch of driving better than 95% play through the Wi-Fi service at least once. Think about that. In the best data that we could find, our competitors are driving about 10 to 15% online usage. We're targeting 95%, and we think we can do it. What's even more compelling is that there have been over 21 million different connections through the service. 21 million. What this means is that on average, the DS consumer has linked on to Wi-Fi at least twice to drive activity out in the marketplace. But the ability for an owner of the software to talk and chat with their friend prior to and immediately after playing Metroid Prime Hunters wirelessly. It's free, it's part of the software, and it's part of the overall initiative for this particular title to drive its success against that hardcore consumer. Now, certainly, while we're excited about it, we think you should be excited about it as well. I mean, imagine the ability in a handheld device for that type of conversation to be happening before and after gaming could be a huge, huge idea. Now, the innovations that we're talking about and bringing to this industry aren't just on the software side, but they translate to hardware as well. You know, there's already been pictures leaked of the new DS Lite on the internet. The buzz for this is tremendous. You know, certainly the package is sleeker, sharper, certainly more beautiful. It's been documented that the development costs for Revolution will be substantially less than our competitors. We want every idea that you have to potentially make its way to Revolution. We think that that's a reasonable approach and really rewards those ideas with an opportunity to be seen versus simply rewarding those with the biggest paychecks. With the freehand controller that we've shown, there'll be an unparalleled level of play. Swing it, chop it, move it any way, and it's what happens on the screen. We've shown that to many of you out in the audience. We have the capability to show people here during the next 2 days if those opportunities come up. The controller itself, there was a lot of thought into what this looks like, and it really is meant to look like a TV remote. A joystick could be a range of other items that really transform the experience to make it better. For any game design, any idea, it can be brought to life with the flexibility and innovation in the Revolution. Its sole purpose is to deliver groundbreaking entertainment to the consumer. And we are focused on attracting a much wider audience than those currently playing games. It promises the ability to do both more and to do less. You can take this idea to a whole different realm of possibilities or create simpler games, easier titles, more accessible titles. It really is a wide open playground. It could be more affordable from a pricing standpoint in terms of gaming to consumers, or take it a different way. If you want to use traditional game playing mechanics, we have a cradle that could be used more traditionally. You know, the buzz for Revolution among you all truly has been fantastic. We have just a sampling of some quotes, not only Japanese developers, Sega, Square, Namco, that have seen the possibilities, but many of you out in the audience, Activision, THQ, Ubisoft, EA, all have seen the controller, all are excited about the possibilities that it presents. So to conclude, my main message here today is that we as an industry cannot take growth for granted. All of us have a continuing challenge in this industry to bring gaming to a whole new level, to appeal to consumers who both currently game today as well as those who do not, to make gaming much more relevant for those currently in our consideration set, but also to reach out with new innovations for those today who aren't in our industry. You know, truly, in front of this impressive audience, I give you an invitation from myself and from Mr.
The data you showed us, again, looked at lower age ranges within the range of games. Do you see that changing in the next generation, or do you think you will continue to have that focus?
In terms of the age range opportunity that we see for gaming in total, Nintendo platforms in particular, we truly see an opportunity that runs the full range. We see ongoing opportunities with the younger consumer with some of our core franchises, Pokemon, for example. We see opportunities with older teens with franchises like Zelda, like bringing a new Mario title to bear. We also see opportunities for older consumers, 30s, 40s, 50s, bringing them into gaming. My prediction, if we look forward 3 years from now, is that actually what you will see is the Nintendo average age of a gamer going up. Today, we sit at about 16 years old across our 3 platforms. Our goal is to edge that up in a variety of different ways, but not forgetting about that younger audience, but bringing relevance to older consumers and older gamers as well.
To your theme of thinking differently, I think there's been a lot of criticism about game publishers in the US being so retail focused compared to what happens in other countries and their new services such as GameTap and the like coming online that aren't necessarily retail focused. So the question is, do you envision these download stations only being in retail, or could we see 7,000 McDonald's download stations, or San Francisco's talking about having free Wi-Fi all over the city? Could you see these in non-retail areas as well?
So really, they're 2 different questions. First, what do we think about our relationship with Wayport and McDonald's? And then the second, where else could these download stations be? In terms of the relationship with McDonald's and Wayport, it really has been phenomenal for us. What it's given us is an easy point of access at, as I said, 7,000 points of distribution. Frankly, the real opportunity with this will come over the summer months, because what's happening is that McDonald's is reaching a point of penetration with this Wi-Fi service that they will now start investing in the marketing of the service. And that creates huge joint marketing opportunities. In terms of DS download stations, can I see these evolving beyond points of retail? Absolutely. Absolutely. The interesting thing with these download stations is you don't need Wi-Fi service in order to execute it. It actually works on the DS local area network service. So any place that there are many consumers that could interact with this service, we can envision putting a DS download station. And just as further proof to that, in Japan, some of these download stations have been put in train stations where consumers walk by and can get access to this content. So the opportunities truly are endless, and frankly, that's why we're so excited about it.
With the next round of consoles, it seems like there's less and less common ground on games that can go cross-platform. Developing games for the Revolution with this new kind of controller seems like it would be nothing like developing a game for the PlayStation 3. Now, is this a good thing, or is this a bad thing in that it stretches development resources thin across, a lot of very, very different kinds of platforms?
In terms of the differences that will start to appear in software across platforms, frankly, I think it's a good thing, both from a developer's standpoint as well as a consumer standpoint. What do I mean? From a developer's standpoint, we believe driving difference in a title truly will appeal or drive appeal to a broader audience. There are going to be some consumers who want to play Title X in a cross-platform way with a standard controller. We believe that.